Guys, we're back. We have Gerry again. There's been a lot of changes since the last time we spoke, which was like a month ago. A lot has happened since then. We saw the release of Portal, which has been a huge hit. Gerry's just come back from TPF. How was your weekend, Gerry, at
Oh
TPF?
God, crazy busy, lots of excitement. It was a lot of fun.
Really a lot of fun. And I mean, I saw everyone obviously love the game, fell in love with the uh, the the gameplay in general and the experience. And Reginald was Reggie was a big hit.
Yeah, our own personality core that Mark Silk voiced. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, he's an active device on the game. He moves around and he blinks his eye at you and talks to you. It's great.
yeah. We'll touch on that. We'll touch on that. So, for you guys well, if you haven't watched part one, I recommend you go watch that first and then come to this one. But we had a sit down just to talk about obviously Multimorphic P3, the system, how it all started, Gerry's background, a couple of the games that I had played, and I was taking a Multimorphic P3 cabinet to the Perth Pinball Festival, which I don't know how that is in compared to size as TPF. We have about 120 games. It's across a Friday, Saturday, Sunday. It's a lot more forgiving on the time schedule because ours is like 9 a.m. till 10 p.m. as opposed
Oh,
to 9 till 1 a.m.
yeah.
But yeah, size wise, I don't know how it compares. Um, but we had a great experience. I was very lucky where we were located on the stand. We had our own section at the back, and we had no machines near us, so it was a lot quieter. So you could actually hear a lot of the call outs. And I purposely had the P3 cabinet on the far left. Then we had a trestle table, and then we had the other three games that I brought along as well. And that really gave people a chance to experience the music, the call outs, of Princess Bride, but especially Final Resistance. And the reception we had was, it was such a popular product. I had probably the three most popular games there, to be honest, between Pulp Fiction, Labyrinth, and Princess Bride and um, Final Resistance. So it was a great experience, and so many people were spun out when they saw it because they didn't expect to see it. Uh,
That was the first time a lot of them had seen it, right?
Yeah, yeah. There's only that, actually funny because I had a conversation with someone at the show, and he said he knows of one person in Queensland that's got one, um, and apparently someone else has one,
Yeah,
because someone
there's
said,
a
yeah, there's
bunch over there, but not near Perth, I don't think.
no, Perth's really, really isolated, but a lot of I think a lot of people that probably have them are quite private collectors, so
Yeah.
they don't start posting pictures online and stuff like that. Um, but yeah, a lot of people were wrapped, and I spent a lot of time because I really wanted to get genuine reactions from people across different demographics. So younger guys, girls, the traditional pinball players, and guys that had only played pinball for a short time, and they all had a very common response. They all loved it, and I shot some video and sent it to you, which Gerry's shared those. If you jump on Multimorphic's Facebook page, they're on there. You'll see the genuine responses of some of the harshest critics in pinball that I have here in Perth, and some newbies and some fanatics, and they were all the same. And everyone said it's a real pinball. Surprise, surprise. Um, it was a great weekend. So I'm really appreciative of the opportunity to at least represent it for you over here. Um, so yeah, so I thought what we would do is just have a chat in general because we've got so much to talk about. And last time we spoke for an hour, we ran out of time, so
Yeah.
we thought we'd cut it into two. Um, Obviously, Portal, it was rumored for a long time, and a lot of people were kind of going, especially the really common pinball people were kind of going, "What is it? Is it a theme? Like, who asked for this theme? And like, what even is it?" And on the flip side, a lot of other people, like Kerry Hardy, who's a huge Portal fanatic player who played it on the PlayStation 2 or 3. I can't remember what consoles they came out on. So it's funny to see both sides, right? It's a theme that has a cult following, and then ironically has people that don't even know that it even existed. So what I'm going to do is I actually found an original trailer from Valve when Portal came out. I want to just quickly show that. So you guys have to give me 2 minutes of your time, and I'll share the screen because I think that really puts into um, just sends the message across about what this story is about, and that this is a game that was created for uh, puzzle solving. And Valve were known for Half-Life, which I'd love to see that as a pinball game, to be honest. Um, and I remember playing Portal, and I went from Half-Life, which is it's a first-person shooter, and you basically, killing people, and went to Portal, and I got excited when I first played Portal, and then I was like, I'm not shooting anyone, and it was like I'm shooting walls, and it took me a while to kind of adapt to that. But I want to show this trailer because I think it's important to uh, give people an understanding and a bit of context. So this is the trailer I found on Game Helper's YouTube.
Welcome to the Aperture Science Enrichment Center. Let's look at some of the challenges you'll face as a test participant. You may be required to perform simple tasks, such as locating an exit. These simple tasks may be supplemented with insurmountable obstacles. Thanks to the Aperture Science handheld portal device, the impossible is easy. Let's look at a real-world example. Certain objects may be vital to your success. If at first you don't succeed, you fail, and the test will be terminated. When stuck, remember our motto: there's a hole in the sky through which things can fly. At the Enrichment Center, we believe that a highly motivated test subject can carry out rather complex tasks while enduring the most intense pain. So in case you don't make it through the testing, goodbye. This next test is impossible. Now you're thinking with portals.
Right. So that puts everything into context. And I think when you're thinking, portals, holes, pinball, it works. It works a treat. So the biggest question I have, and I've been meaning to ask you, and coincidentally, since the announcement, you've been flat out, obviously, and I haven't wanted to bother you. But how did this whole portal thing come about?
Well, it's actually a license we've been looking at for a while. Um, Valve is an organization that runs a little differently than your standard corporation. The employees, the staff, they work in a different way than most companies. There's no individual licensing person that you go out and talk to. They basically need you to find an employee in the organization that is interested in working with you, and then they'll be your champion. They'll do your they'll talk you through it. They'll help you with the reviews. They'll do all the things. We have the design team. There are five main participants. Five people did the bulk of the design and implementation on this game, and four of them are diehard Portal fans. So this is a theme that was very near and dear to the people on the team. We got connected. Actually, when Bowen Cairns was working for us, he has a direct connection to a developer at Valve, and he got us connected. And that developer, um, he was excited about the opportunity to do a pinball game. Got us connected. Had a lot of great chats, and then we got the license, and the team was thrilled to do this thing. It's perfect for pinball. You can imagine the ball in that video you saw. You the character, or Shell the character, goes in one portal, comes out somewhere else, and that's the perfect physical trick that some pinball machines do once or twice, and that the P3 lets us do any number of ways. It's perfect for us.
And it's the first thing I thought when I heard the rumor. I was like, man, I hadn't thought about Portal for such a long time. And then when I heard the rumor, I was like, I'm going to find it. I couldn't find it anywhere. And then I realized it was on the Switch. So I downloaded them and started playing it again. And, even talking to a few friends of mine that are, I'm 40, there's a few friends that are a little bit older, a little bit younger. And it was interesting to see how many people knew about it and how many people didn't. And so you said there was 5 on the team that worked. Out of curiosity, what's the age demographic on that team of 5?
We are all late 20s to late 40s, so they're about 20 years in there.
Yeah. So, which is interesting because a lot of people kind of in some of the comments are like, oh, if you only played video games in the the early 2000s, you would know about it. But there was someone recently that I saw. He'd be in his 50s surely, and he knows he was so obsessed with Portal. So it is the perfect theme for pinball. I think it works really well, and what you guys have packed into that game, and obviously taking on some feedback for that extended bit at the front of the game as well, which a lot of people have been wanting to see. And I know you guys kind of tinkered with that in Heist as well, or you've developed it in the past, that front section in some other games.
We put out a video early on showing that we can put things closer to the flippers. The P3 is designed to allow mechanisms closer to the flippers. You just can't drill holes in the playfield, so you have to mount them in a way that comes down from above. There are challenges with all aspects of pinball design. For putting stuff closer to the flippers, obviously, you put stuff closer and you're blocking shot paths. You're blocking access to things deeper. So you'll notice that pretty much all pinball games have things mostly in the back or along the sides. Because if you put something smack dab right in the middle, you block your access to everything. So we've long wanted to put stuff closer. We just needed the right theme and the right set of mechs to be able to do it in a way that enhanced gameplay rather than blocked access to the cool features.
And I guess, is it fair to say that one of the challenges with putting stuff at the front is also doing it in a way that it doesn't interfere with your ball tracking?
Well, that's true. Also, we have a whole array of infrared light beams that we shine across the surface of the playfield. So anything that touches the playfield will block that light and cause problems. We've come up with ways over the years to float physical mechanisms down over top of the screen without touching it. So we can solve those problems with cool mechanical engineering implementations. I don't think there's anything really we can't do from above that is traditionally done from below.
Well, and even below, I was thinking about the other day, you could even do like a virtual lower playfield on that screen, on a beautiful
Sure.
display screen, which is something that I'm a huge fan of. It's a massive engineering feat to be able to do like that ramp on the right-hand side that is essentially just resting, or is like on some angles, it looks like it's not even touching.
No, it's not floating. I mean, it is floating. It's not touching the screen. So it's got spring steel in the front of it.
Yeah.
So when the ball runs into the spring steel hits the bottom part of the ball, gets pushed down, and the ball rolls up it like a normal ramp.
Yeah, well, we'll go through. So what I'm going to do, guys, is I've got a lot of photos that are off the Portal website, and I think we'll just deep dive in sections of it because the game's packed, and there was a lot of things that even I've watched the trailer so many times, and there's things that I only picked up, watching it again, and then the team did a fantastic video with Loser Kid talking about things that they've put in, and there was things that I had missed, which they brought up as well. So what I will do is I will share. Let's go. And then we'll have a look at. There it is. Alrighty. So what we've got here, obviously, is the main module, which is the back of the game. It is loaded. I'm still trying to work out where everything's going. The main obvious thing is obviously the artwork, which Brad's done is phenomenal. The attention to detail. I hadn't even seen kind of when this ramp is down, all the attention to detail in that back area. This must have been like such an intricate part of, like, how many versions of this had you guys actually done?
Oh, I mean, Brad iterated over and over. So the playfield design is an iterative process in general, putting a ramp here, putting a feature here, and then Brad's doing concept art throughout the process. It took months. And there was months of iteration to come up with this full design.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot going on. I mean, the fact that the ramps, both of these lift, that one lifts. Then you've got we'll do a couple photos. There's some zoom in photos here. Reginald, like the idea of putting this robot that assists you as a companion, I think is a great idea, because you start feeling connected to him, as opposed to just being something that is doing call outs. And even more intricate is the fact that he's got no expressions and you're relying purely on his personality, which obviously has just come out like unbelievably perfect. With Mark Silks doing the voice, did you guys kind of know you wanted to use him straight away, or was there other voices that because obviously originally it was Stephen Merchant that I did it, correct?
So there are a lot of personality cores in the game of Portal, and in fact, early on when we were talking to them, we said the pinball game is not the video game. It's not the recreation of the levels in the video game that you're playing. It's a unique environment. It's a portable testing unit, or however we themed it. So it makes sense to have a different personality core that is connected to the pinball experience. It's not Wheatley. It's not Stephen Merchant's voice. It's a new personality core. It's the team building core, Reginald. And we knew the style of voice we wanted, but Mark Silk is amazing. He's effervescent. He's got such great personality himself. He's always on. He's very high energy and upbeat, and he's perfect for this voice.
And yeah, look, he's captured it so well. You've kind of fall in love with him straight away, even in the trailer. You're kind of like, I want him to be my friend. It's to have something that's so intricate as a model, and then it turns, and then obviously does the full 360 where you basically have the turret on the back. And it was funny because I was having a conversation with someone saying, "Oh, I wonder why he's got a turret on his back." And I said, "Well, no, I think it's just the idea that when he's the turret's actually not on his back. It's just that when he has his back turned, the turret pops up."
That's right. That's right.
And it's a great little trick, because you get a 2-in-1 mech, because the turret, if I'm not mistaken, has got lights in it as well.
Yes, so the personality core, Reginald, he has a screen for his eye, so the eyeball moves around, he blinks, he can he can communicate with you. His personality shows through the animations on the screen. But yeah, when he turns around, there's a turret there, and the turret has LEDs for the iris, LEDs for all of the gun barrels as well.
Yeah. And yeah, look, I think it's probably one of the greatest mechs in pinball ever made, in my opinion. He's just awesome, and I'm assuming there'd be like so many call outs that Mark did for the character.
I think they said there's 800 files with
Wow.
different lines that we can integrate into the game. Yeah.
Wow, that's crazy. That's crazy. This section here in the back corner obviously is like an upper play field, which we've got the kick that sends the ball up, which is basically to the loft, which library of failed tests. Interesting.
That's
Cool. I
right.
didn't actually. I was like, what does LOF stand for? So there you go. You learn something new every day. Talk us through this. So obviously it's quite a compact little area, and you push the companion cube through the portal, which enables the ball locks. Was this something that you guys, because obviously with the idea of having portals and things appearing other places, did you always have this thing, we've got to have like an upper play field and the ball's got to be airborne?
Yes, because if you have a play field where you can use ramps and loops and normal shots to reach every place, then what's the point of portals? You saw in that little introduction video that Valve created, in order to get across the chasm, the fire-filled chasm, you have to use a portal to teleport across. So it made sense to have many different areas on this playfield that you couldn't hit from normal shots. You had to shoot into portals. Scroll back a bit to that loft area. So you'll notice there's no ramp that can reach that. The vertical up kicker, that decorated vertical up kicker, is the only way to access that. And you can't really tell from this angle, but there's an LED ring around the bottom of that VUK that we light up to show you that if you shoot it in somewhere else, the ball's going to come out of that VUK and go up. There's no good shot of that right now, but so some other shot will be configured as your portal linked connection to this vertical up kicker. You shoot it up there, and then yes, you can see around the cube up there, that blue circle is representing a portal, and somewhere else on the playfield right now would be lit blue. So when you push the cube with the ball, you'll push it through that portal and it will appear somewhere else. Same cube, you're pushing it through a portal here and it comes out somewhere else. So it's basically, obviously physically it's two toys that we created, but they're representing the exact same device that's being moved back and forth between a portal.
And it does it very effortlessly. I saw it in the trailer. Obviously, it just appears and disappears, which is I didn't actually think about that. Obviously, the colored ring is relevant to where it's going to appear.
Yes, so we use colors just like the video game does. They use colors to connect where you're going in to where you're coming out. So you should, as you're playing this pinball game, be able to make the mental connection between this shot is lit a color, therefore I know I'm going to come out over here because it's lit with the same color.
Yeah, cool. And so this is directly on the right-hand side of that upper play field, which obviously is an angled panel portal that is lit up. The interesting part I read here is obviously you got to make sure you build enough momentum or else the ball will land in the pit. Now, this can either go, there's three areas that this can go on, which basically is the pit, which is the green part. I'm assuming that's lit up. Then there's on the other side, on the right-hand side, there's the shelf, or it can just land on the underneath the shelf bit. In relation to getting enough momentum, what happens there?
Yeah, so in the video game, speedy thing in equals speedy thing out. The faster the portals preserve your momentum. So what we did is, after you can see it in the same picture, the cube in the upper left that we were just talking about. When you push the cube through the portal remaps to this, what we call the momentum jump launcher. So after the cube pushes back, it reveals a hole. That hole is another portal, and you can shoot the ball in the hole. It pops out of this momentum jump. If you first shoot loops to increase your momentum, the ball will exit this paneled portal faster. So if you just push the cube and you shoot the ball into the hole, you have no momentum. The ball will just dribble out into the pit. If you shoot a loop first and then shoot the hole, you'll get medium momentum and land on the lower landing zone. And if you hit a bunch of loops first, here you go. Basically land on that big red button. And there's the other side of the cube, right? The cube was pushed through the portal and it came out on this other side. To create a ball lock.
So the momentum, and I'll go back here. So the more you go around this, faster and faster and faster. It's like catching a run up, basically. And then you go through. That's cool.
And then you combo that into the hole. You come out of the momentum jump launcher, and you go all the way up to what we call the upper right landing zone, which is that glass walkway over there.
And if I'm not mistaken, this railing is actually like a flap that goes down as well.
Yeah, that's hinged so that when the ball
Yeah,
hits the far wall, it doesn't just roll off the edge. So
correct.
that
Yeah,
thing keeps it from it keeps it rolling down the right side.
yeah. And while we've got this picture up, where these two balls are, because obviously we've pushed the cube through, it's activated the lock. That now is locking the balls. We can add a ball onto that by shooting up this ramp.
Yes, the faith plate. It's not
Yeah,
actually a ramp. In fact, we saw a lot of people confusing it with a lift ramp.
yeah,
It's not a lift ramp. It's actually backwards from a lift ramp. It's called an aerial faith plate, which is straight from the video game. It's a platform that when you walk on it,
yes, yep,
it flings you forward. So this does exactly the same thing. You shoot the ball, there's a switch on the front of it. When the switch
yep,
activates, the plate activates and it flips the ball backwards
yep. Which you
towards
can
that
see
landing
the
area.
image here on the playfield,
Yeah.
um, which it shows you.
So it's an aerial feature. It's very surprising to people. It was fun to watch them play it at the Texas Pinball Festival and
Yeah,
interact with that because it lands on that plate behind it. It goes over the rail, it goes over the pit, it lands on the plate. It's super cool.
yeah. And then it bashes this area here where the window is.
Yes.
Yeah,
So it
and
hits the wall. That's actually a cutout hinged place to absorb momentum as the ball's
yeah,
smashing into it, because otherwise it would just bounce off.
yeah.
But it absorbs that momentum, drops the ball onto the landing area, the grates, and then locks in front of the cube.
And I mean, even just this image here, right? Like you look at, I'm still looking at it going, God, you guys have thought of everything. So, obviously you got this momentum portal, you got the lock, then you needed the hinge on the rail to stop the ball falling off. Then you needed this at the back to absorb the impact so it didn't bounce back. There's a lot of thought process that it's gone into this. Like, I'm assuming you guys had like a lot of variations of this area. Did you have to like tweak it and go, well, we're going to need this absorption bit. We're
Yeah,
going to need like, how many versions did you play with?
we had three different prototypes of the faith plate mechanism itself, the flinging part of it.
Yeah,
And then we iterated a lot on the back wall, whether it was drop dead foam or some kind of absorbing material, or we tried different types of material. We tried different types of movement. We tried a lot of things and wound up with some kind of, it's like, the Newton balls that people have on their desk and you drop one
yeah,
ball and the ball comes off the other end.
yeah,
That's kind of the physics of what we wound up implementing.
yeah. Wow, it's jam packed, and I mean this obviously the aerial faith plate. I couldn't remember the name of it in the game. That would be a first in pinball. I've never seen. I mean, obviously it's a catapult, we know that, but I don't think. Correct me if I'm wrong. I don't think I've seen a mech like that in pinball before.
No, I think everywhere else it's a place where the ball sits and then at some point it activates, and like the Medieval Madness catapult throws the ball
Yeah,
forward. Houdini, other games
Houdini,
have
I
done
know
that.
had. Yeah, 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 yeah.
I think this is the only place that tries to do it with a flowing, a live ball.
Yeah,
And obviously, depending on how fast you shoot the ball, it's going to fling it at different heights. Because a
mm,
fast moving ball gets across the plate when it starts to lift up. A slow moving ball is going to lift up when it's right on the front of it. So
yeah.
there is a little bit of skill involved in that shot. You have to figure out the right speed and make sure you're hitting it cleanly, or if it rattles, that changes kind of the dynamics of the fling.
And is that active when it's lit red on the in front of it, or is that basically a like? How do you know that that's ready to rock and roll?
Yeah, it tells you through the color of the insert or it's blinking. I think
Yeah,
orange means that that shot is lit as just a full orbit, a
yeah,
loop that goes around. When it's red, I believe it activates the faceplate.
yeah. Um, at the bottom of Reginald, obviously we've got a captive ball. We've got a couple targets.
Not just a captive ball. It's a portaling captive ball.
I was going to say because I can see the portal at the back. So talk me through that.
Yeah, so a normal captive ball is this fully contained area where there's some kind of a momentum transfer device. In this case, like a they call it a Newton ball
Yeah,
that's hard mounted to the playfield. Another ball behind it, and usually a target behind that. You just bash the ball that it pushes the back ball into a target. In our case, it goes into a hole, into a portal, and the ball can go anywhere once it goes into a portal. So we can um, take it somewhere physical. We can take it somewhere virtual. We can draw a virtual ball on the screen. So you hit the captive ball, the ball goes through a portal. We draw a portal on the screen, the ball comes out of it. It goes up in the air, it comes back down, and it returns to the captive ball position. But we have a multi-ball called Edgeless Safety Cube
Yeah.
Multi-Ball. And edgeless safety cubes in the game are a cube without edges, which is basically a sphere, which is perfect for a pinball. So
Pinball.
interestingly, edgeless safety cube, ESC, is the abbreviation of the word escape.
Yeah.
So we call it escape multi-ball. The captive ball escapes containment. If you hit it enough times, it portals into play, and it creates a multi-ball.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. That's cool. That's cool. Then obviously,
Check out
I
the
mean,
artwork in that hole. There's artwork
I know.
in the hole.
Yeah. Yeah. I was just looking at that, and even just like the leaves and, yeah, the detail in the artwork. Because that kind of looks like the mesh you get in the elevator shafts, at the back of the. That's so cool.
Yeah, every surface in the entire game is decorated. We did this on Princess Bride as well, which was the
Yeah.
first time we did it. But we said if there's an exposed metal surface, it takes your mind out of the immersive environment. So we decorated including stuff underneath the playfield.
So that's another portal. That scoops another portal.
That we generally use that as the entrance to what we call the turret control center, which is a room in the environment that's underground that you're going to. I don't know if we ever use that as a portal. Yes, we do in a couple modes, but normally when you're in the hub mode, it's your mystery award hole, and it's the place where you shoot to lock your turret balls and things like that.
Yeah, no, that's cool. Oh, there's the reference we said to Reggie with the turret on the back. And
so
I think
Reggie's off looking away somewhere else.
Yeah.
Reggie's in the background, and this turret comes out and starts firing at you.
Yeah. Did you ever toy with the idea of having the turrets pop up out of the playfield somewhere?
Yeah, we did. We were thinking drop targets or whatever's our turrets that you can go and knock over or whatever. But we do use the stand-up targets as turret targets, depending on the mode. But we wanted the toy to be able to have a little bit of personality. And when he's firing at you, you actually have laser beams and bullets coming at you on the screen.
On the screen. Yeah, I saw that. Yeah, that was cool. I think there's that. We'll get to that. So, I mean, the biggest thing about this is obviously the having the screen, which you're able to create all these rooms and all these scenarios. That it's pretty endless because like you said, you can even just have a digital ball appear, and then you're using that. I saw in the trailer where the turrets are firing. Is that a mode where you, with the actual physical ball, you're hitting the stuff on the screen?
There are times when you hit fake rollover, virtual rollover targets on the screen, but normally when we're interacting with turrets, the turrets are usually physical targets or some physical items in the world that you need to hit. So for example, turret multi-ball, there are times when you'll hit a target, the turret will turn around and start firing at you. And he's not firing at you, he's firing at the ball you're trying to lock. And if you don't lock it fast enough by shooting the turret control center, then the turret will eventually destroy the ball and you lost your opportunity to lock it. But if you shoot the shot fast enough, then the ball moves away from the turret and gets locked, and it prepares for multi-ball.
And is that a situation where if he destroys the ball, is that where it kills power to the flippers and the ball just drains?
That's actually a different mode. So on the screen now, the upper left image is what we call the discouragement beam mode. Encouragement by discouragement. So in that mode, there's the discouragement beam, which is it's aimed into the room. That cube is reflecting it at certain angles, and whatever the discouragement beam hits is destroyed or disabled. So in this particular mode, you can't really tell in this small image, but the spinner, which is the left orbit, there's a spinner on the left orbit. When you hit that, it turns gears, and those gears are connected to the platform that cube sits on, and the platform spins around to aim the beam at different locations. When the beam hits the slingshots or the flippers, it disables them temporarily. So it doesn't really disable the flippers. It disables the hold power on the flippers.
Yeah.
So as it spins through, you can still flip, but you can't hold the flipper up.
Hold the flipper.
The beam damaged your flippers temporarily.
Yeah. And look, it's one of the things I really love about the screen. One of my favorite things I ever saw was on Weird Owls with the germs that you squash with the ball.
Yeah.
So you got germs on the screen, and the ball is rolling over and squashing. So I don't, I love the idea of people experiencing to actually realize that they're getting, like, it's not just a screen that does nothing. There is interaction with the screen, and I can imagine just the animations alone. I mean, obviously we're so used to animations on a screen on the headboard as usual, but having this where the world's your oyster, even like I said before, you can create like a virtual lower playfield. Or all these different rooms. I mean, you guys must have obviously, because how many rooms have you got drawn up that appear on the screen?
Right now, there are 4 implemented. At the end of the day, we'll have 3 more. Some more test chambers, a final battle with GLaDOS. There's a Ratman's World coming. But you nailed it. The screen. Yes, pinball is a physical game with real balls and real targets and flippers and things, but the screen really is the magic of the P3 because the screen lets us immerse you into the story. It lets us draw the meaning that you're hitting a specific shot. In that discouragement beam one, you see on the screen the reason you need to hit the spinner, the reason the beam needs to rotate around and hit that shot to enable it. The screen gives you the context that enhances the physical experience. So, but we couldn't do half the stuff we do without the details that we put on the screen. Every other manufacturer has 30 or 60 or whatever LEDs, so they have a few pixels that they use to try to instruct you on what shots to hit. We can give you full graphical meaning for everything.
And in this instance now with this image where the screen looks like a traditional playfield, and it has the inserts and everything, it's very similar to Final Resistance where it kind of presents like a traditional pinball. And for someone that doesn't know much about the game can still walk up to it and just shoot the flashing lights, as they say. And I just think having the screen to kind of take you onto that journey, and deep dive into the story, because I think one thing P3 does better than most because of the screen is the fact that it can take you on that journey, and allows to tell a deeper story. As much as I love Jaws and I love the Jaws pinball, it then is limited to where the story basically can be told. And I think as great as that is, as the director intended with the film, if you did have a virtual screen, there's one of the reasons why I know people that really love playing virtual pinball, because they get an animation of a shark jumping out of the water, or there's a lot more interaction. So having a screen and having being able to incorporate the storytelling of whether it's the game or whether it's a movie, I think it's a huge asset to have. And if I can imagine if the engineering and the tech isn't right, then obviously which probably explains why no one else has really done it. But it's a massive draw card because there's a lot of themes, and I think I jokingly said to you once that a sci-fi theme where you're kind of looking down on planets, or the depth perception that you can give. And a couple of your trailers for this, where it looked like you're walking across a plank and there is depth to that, is a real captivating thing. And a couple of people I spoke to who experienced it said that the animations really tied everything in together.
Good. And this theme is Portal is a puzzle game, and puzzles. Making a pinball game based on puzzles is a weird challenge because you want people to come up to the game and enjoy it every time they play it. And if you put a puzzle together, if you solve a puzzle video game, you've done it. You don't want to play it again. So coming up with the hook, the reason to play the game again was an interesting challenge, and the screen helped us because in what you're seeing now, we call it the hub mode, or the hub, it's basically 90s style pinball in the hub. You're shooting shots, you're trying to complete objectives, you're getting hurry ups, you can play multi-balls, it's like a whole game in the hub. And then the test chambers, the modes that we change the screen that we drop you into to solve puzzly type situations is very different. So your goal is to do all the things in the hub, play the multi-balls, but then also drop into the test chambers and complete the objectives in there.
I'm looking at the so here at the bottom we've got the test chambers. You got 1, 2, 3, 4, and then you got the 3 that are locked.
Yep.
And then you got the objectives, which are all the little images of. Can you talk me through that? I know there's some that are lit up blue with the green. So what's going on in that top section there?
Okay, so when you're in the hub, you have access to all these objectives, and some are simple, some are complex. Like shooting 3 ramps is an objective, shooting 3 loops. You need to do a momentum jump and jump all the way to the upper landing zone. You need to go through a few portals. We have portals under the left and middle ramp that we can connect together. And what we call them is portal mini loops. You shoot in one, it comes out the other. You shoot back in that one, it comes out the other one. And it's just virtual loops going through physical holes. You have to hit all the targets. You have to go through every single portal. You have to do something we haven't talked about yet, which is the hard light bridge, which is a cool mechanism we'll get to in a second, I'm sure. But there's these 8 different objectives. Every time you complete one of them, you start a hurry up. You shoot up the middle to collect the hurry up. It flings it towards the back. But if you stage things properly, you can complete all 8 objectives and stack all 8 hurry ups to get a massive scoring bonus if you can do all that together.
Yeah, that's cool. So they're basically like modes.
They're like Attack from Mars or Medieval Madness. You need to hit the ramp 3 times, and that starts a hurry up at the center shot. It's similar to that. They're basically modes themselves, but they're all stackable and all playable at the exact same time.
Exact same time, which is a cool thing, as opposed to, you only can do one, and if you accidentally do the others, they don't count, which would get frustrating. So that's cool that you can do them all at once.
Yeah, and here you can stack the multi-balls on top. You can start a multi-ball and continue working through your objectives at the same time. But it's hard to avoid the center shot while you're doing that, so you have to be really strategic about how you do it.
Yeah, which adds a lot of replay value, because I think you can never get sick of walking up to it and going, well, how many can I do in the one hit, like in the one time before I drain a ball? And the challenge is to get them all done, and then we'll just keep you pushing start, coming back for more. I really want to talk about this extended bit, because it is some of the feedback that you guys have received over the years about the fact that the back section, third of the game, is the only thing that has interaction like a traditional pinball. And there was always this call for, can we get more somehow and whatnot, and you guys obviously have delivered that with this extended edition bit. It's amazing, because I didn't actually realize something, which was that it's actually 2 levels. So you've got the stuff at the bottom that gets added, but then you've got the stuff up here, which I think there's a better photo. This is the ramp one, but we'll get to that in a second. So this one here, which is on the left side, which is, if I go back up, is this section here, right? I didn't actually realize that you actually go onto the bridge, which is the top part, and there's this cool little mech here, which knocks the ball and sends it to the right flipper, correct?
Yes. So let me add a little flavor to that.
Yeah, please do, because that was pathetic from my part.
Since all of these physical mechanisms can't come up through the playfield surface like a traditional machine, we mount them upside down to a clear piece of plastic that drops down onto the machine. So basically, since we're dropping in mechs from above, we have this clear plastic surface, which creates a second level of potential area for the ball to roll on. Instead of the wire forms that we normally use to bring the ball to the flippers from the ramps, we can have the ball rolling on this surface. So Brad drew on the left side, he drew a catwalk that represents the traditional wire form path to the left in lane.
Which is this one. So this one here.
that catwalk, the ball rolls down,
Yep.
and if nothing else happens, the ball will roll past that wall and it'll go all the way to the lower left flipper.
Yep.
But you can see in that caution, yellow caution area, there's a part of the wall panel which is different from the rest. That's actually a flipping mechanism that comes out from the wall. It's called a wall panel in the game. And depending on what state you have the software, what you've completed before you go up there,
Yep.
you can gain control of that flipping plate through one of the flipper buttons. And as the ball comes down, you can flip it, and you can flip it all the way across to the right side. There's actually a ball on that picture. You can see it on the right side.
Yeah, just yeah.
And that's on top of the plastic rolling through the one-way gate towards the right. And you can basically take a ball that was going to go to the left flipper and you can flip it across to the right in lane. And that's an objective. That's one of the things you have to, it's one of those 8 objectives is to complete that.
So basically, it gives you the impression that it's flying across, like jumping across.
Yeah, it adds 3D directionality to the movement of the ball, which you're in a building, you're going through levels, you're going up different levels, so it makes perfect sense in the theme.
So I can see where can you see my cursor, Gerry?
Yes.
So this area that I've drawn where the plastic obviously has an edge and drops to the actual display playfield. Right. So if the ball loses momentum, I'm assuming it will just roll off and land down and come down here to your flippers.
That's right. It just falls back into play. So our theory on that feature was if you don't activate the plate, the ball goes to the left in lane. Mm-hmm. If you activate the plate at just the right time, the ball goes to the right in lane. Yep. And if you just hold the plate up, hold it open, the ball will deflect off of it and go into the center. So it turns out that if you hold the plate up, the ball goes basically to the right flipper directly. It lands into it. But if you mistime the flip, the ball's going to go anywhere. It could go right down the middle. It could go to the right outlane. It could go anywhere.
So so that was something I didn't even get because the perspex is so clear that I didn't even realize it went all the way because it's basically here. And I think what I'll do is I'll scroll down. You can just see the edge just there. So just in front of where the big scoops are that pop up. So here is the edge, correct?
Yes.
Which is just there. And then the other edge is, so I didn't actually notice that in the trailer. And I don't think a lot of people did because no one really mentioned it in some of the videos I watched. And it was only till they were talking about it on Loser Kid that one of the team was talking about it. And a penny dropped with Kerry, and Kerry's like, hold on a second. And he's like, I didn't realize that either. And I think that's actually really cool because, you've done a good job there, like hiding the fact that there is perspex there, which the ball travels on, obviously. So you're not essentially just adding the left bit and the right bit. The whole thing is essentially another kit module, the same size really as a traditional module that you're dropping in, if I'm not mistaken.
And to be clear, that's one fully assembled thing that you just drop down from the top. There's 4 bolts on the side and a couple of connectors in the back, but and it adds so much because on the right side there, if you scroll back up or down to the right side picture.
Yep. Which is that one?
Yeah, so there's that ramp and the 2 targets on the left and right of the ramp. That whole mechanism is a lift mechanism. So when you hit the ramp, the whole thing comes up. The targets and the ramp move out of the way, so you have perfect access to the stuff behind it, the captive ball and things. But what you can't really tell in this picture is there's another catwalk on this side, and that catwalk feeds a diverter. If the ball rolls down that catwalk, it might divert to the right in lane, or the diverter will open and it'll go in that you see that pipe that's drawn?
Yeah, the gel flow.
Yeah, so gel it's essentially a repulsion gel. The ball rolls into that thing and repulses back through a physical kickback mechanism.
And that will go back towards Reggie?
It goes towards Reggie. It falls onto the lower playfield surface and goes around the outer orbit.
Yeah, wow. Okay.
So what's interesting is that position of that kickback is similar to a shooter lane in other games. So when we launch the ball into play, we launch it into that kickback. It kicks all the way around, and it's like a plunger lane on a traditional game.
So basically, behind here, there's a kickback that sends the ball this way and back down towards that red target that we saw before, which is this one here.
It's actually below that, or
Below
in front of
that.
that. Yeah. The orange there in that same picture.
Oh yeah, yes, yeah, there it is. Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. Wow.
It goes around the outer orbit.
So there's a lot happening up there. So really, I mean,
I don't think people believe me when I say that we put more in this game than I've ever seen in any pinball machine before, but there's a ton in this game.
Yeah, so obviously let's talk about so this, obviously you said the ramp is barely touching the screen, and then the weight of the ball as the ball hits it will push it down. That will go up. You got some targets there. That lifts out of the way to be able to still shoot whatever it is. Obviously I can imagine when it is down, the ball is probably going to just sit at the back of the ramp, but then probably move just because of gravity, obviously. And the ball's going to turn. Now that
and that feeds around to the right, so that ramp can also feed the kickback mechanism or the right in lane.
Yeah, right, okay. And this right flipper, so for those that don't know, Multimorphic obviously has 2 upper flippers on near the top of the screen and 2 at the bottom, so there's 4 flippers in every game just in the screen part, plus the flippers that you add in the modules, if those modules have flippers. Does this right one get used as well? I can't recall seeing it in the trailer.
It's fully disabled. It's not used.
And the left one's the same?
The left one is actually used for that wall plate we were just talking about. The mechanism.
Oh yeah, because
the coil
control. Yep.
Yeah, we didn't have room on the top for a new coil and a whole mechanism, so we connected it. We have a pin that goes down and connects with the lower flipper coil and uses that to activate.
Yeah, wow, okay. That's cool. So the part that so this wall essentially has a spinner. The wall is just designed to act as a guide.
Yes, so that allows us to bring the left orbit much closer to the player.
Yeah.
The traditional P3 games have an upper playfield orbit of some kind, but you have to, the entrance to it is way up at the playfield module, but this one is much closer, and the spinner is closer, and there's 2 targets there as well.
Yeah.
And those targets are dangerous. They're close enough to the flippers that if you hit them, you've got to be real careful not to drain when they come back.
Yeah. So so look, the add-on of, and I know some people have asked me this question. They said, "Can you ask Gerry?" Which I will. The idea of being able to add these extended bits to this game, is there a possibility that you guys can now go back to older games to do this as well?
So there's always been the possibility. We hadn't done it yet because we didn't think lower playfield features would enhance those experiences. And you'll see it. Look at games like Jaws or Venom or all the games from all the manufacturers. The center of the playfield is generally open because you don't want physical things in the way of all your shot paths. So likely we won't go back to older games and add features to them, but now you know we can do it. So when the next time the theme says, "I'm going to be a better game if you put stuff lower," you'll know that we're not lying when we say we can do it.
Yeah, and there's only a certain amount of games that can achieve that, like Attack from Mars or Galactic Tank Force, where it does have something, and there's only a certain amount of games that can pull that off. The rest of them would probably be annoying if it had something there. So
like a game like Dracula. The Dracula targets are actually, if you measure them from the flippers, they're actually close to where the walls are on a P3. They're actually farther back than you realize. When people ask for things closer to the flippers, there aren't that many games that have stuff that close to the flippers, and you know it while playing because they're super dangerous.
Well, I think the interesting part, and I'm sure I'm not the only one that thinks this, but because obviously the screen finishes here, and then you've got the scoops, which we'll touch on in a second. I think having all that as a bit of a distraction, it actually makes a bit of a, like in your brain, you kind of think that the back third is actually smaller than what it actually is, because it draws like a little bit of a line, and it's a bit of a visual kind of like it messes with your head a little bit because it's
Yeah.
actually quite close. It's not that far back.
Yeah, the square edges of the screen and the fact that the artwork has to pause for 2 inches or 3 inches before
Yeah.
it continues behind it, it definitely draws your attention, and therefore the things feel like they're way back. They're not that much farther back than the closest mechs on most games. I mean, it's a
Yeah.
discussion we've had over the years, but some
Yeah.
people have taken old drawings and overlaid them on the P3 screen, and you'll see that most of the mech, the it's Stern's. No, yeah. Stern's Pirates of the Caribbean has the chest lock, the heart
Yep.
chest on the right side, and it feels like that's super close to the flippers, but it's not. That if you put that on top of this thing, on top of the P3 screen, you'll see that it's right where the scoops are. It's back far enough
Mm.
that you just have painted pieces of wood in front of it. So it's an illusion,
It's an optical
um,
illusion. Yeah.
but regardless, we understand that this feels like the playfield's super open. So people have the option to add this extension unit, and those that purchase it, those that purchase the extension unit, you can play with or without it. You don't have to install it, so you can
Mm.
experience the game both ways. And in fact, some of the rules have to change because we don't have the features when it's not installed. So you can enjoy it in both ways.
How long does it take to install that extended bit? Like
So
if you got really good at it.
if you got really good at it, oh geez, 60 seconds.
Yeah.
It's very fast. So the first time you install it, you have to add a pin catcher to the lower side target.
Yeah.
But after you do that, it's there forever. And then the module just drops in from above. There's 4 screws and 3 connectors, and it's super fast.
Cool. Now with the scoops, I've been meaning to ask you this for a while. So the clear boxes here. Um, have you ever toyed with the idea of putting like a sticker on top for artwork at all, or is it always
Yeah.
been your vision to have them clear to be lit up?
No, we've talked through all manner of decorating those things, where there's projected
Mm.
images or inserts that you can drop in, or even the scoops pull one out and put in, because you can pull out those scoops.
Mm.
They're friction locked in place, and there's one cable that goes to the LED board. But you can pull them out, and you can easily replace them with other ones. We've talked about it for a while, and every time we go down the path, we think we can decorate in front of them well enough to give the story without adding complexity to the user.
And how does Portal use those scoops? How have you guys because I actually really like those scoops. I think they're a great feature. And obviously with 15 balls that these that the P3 system has, how have you guys integrated these scoops into Portal?
A couple different ways. The leftmost scoop we use as the elevator. So
Hmm.
when you hit one of the targets on the upper playfield, there's a circle target just left of the faceplate. That's the elevator call button.
Hmm.
Um, when you hit that target, the left scoop pops up, and that's the elevator that you use to go to test chambers. Um, Once you go into a test chamber, the screen changes. You're doing your puzzle modes and those kind of things. In some of the modes, we use the scoops in different ways. In fact, I think the most heavily used scoop mode is not released yet. It's one of the 3 under construction modes.
All
But
right.
what's interesting is when we talk about Portal, everyone's like, "Oh, it's perfect for Portal because they have the scoops, so you're going to shoot into
Yeah.
scoops." But we don't actually use the scoops for a lot of portals. We do sometimes, but not a lot.
Yeah.
We have 10 different ins and outs on the playfield module itself where the ball can travel around.
Yeah, it's I honestly really like those scoops. I think they add a lot of dimension to um, the games, especially in there's a cool mode in Final Resistance that comes in and uses quite a few of those scoops, and then uses them as barriers as well.
Yeah, because there's
I'm
the
just going
scoop, and then
to
in front of them there's a wall that can lift up as well to block access to it.
yeah. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to have this playing in the background. So I'll see if I can show off. Can you see the YouTube of your trailer?
Yes.
So we'll just go. So obviously that's the momentum there we were talking about on the upper play field. I'll just get so right there. So that goes around and around and around in circles, grabs the momentum, and
Uh-huh.
then obviously shoots out of that portal. That was
Yeah, the cube
cool.
moves back. You shoot it into the hole in front of the cube, and
Yeah.
then it jumps out. Yeah. right now,
Yeah.
and it jumps
Yeah.
all the way across.
Yeah. Very cool.
Mystery award, trying to get your cake.
The cake is so funny listening. People go, why are they talking about cake? It's a cool. I want to see where's my cake shirts made.
GLaDOS promises you cake when you complete the goals.
We haven't actually touched on GLaDOS. I mean, she's a really cool. Just looking at so you saw the bridge there lift up.
There's the light bridge. You saw just it.
Yeah,
there it goes.
I'm gonna go back. There you go. So it's actually on the. I never noticed this part. So on the actual screen below, there's the blue lit up bridge.
So that's exactly what I said when I said we can use
Yeah.
the screen to define the context for a shot. So the
Yeah.
blue bridge is drawn to show you why you're flipping across the screen. It's giving you context. There was a flip backwards for a faith plate fling into multi-ball.
Yeah.
You saw the back panel there, absorb the momentum.
Yep. Very cool.
Locking turret.
I think you've got something like 27,000 views. I'm sure I'm about 7,000 of those. Because it is so captivating to watch, and it's kind of like, you're always finding something new.
What we just saw, the turrets were firing at your jackpot value.
Yeah.
So every time they hit the jackpot value, it decreases it and makes your jackpot worth less until you take out the turrets, so they stop taking your score down.
Yeah, very cool.
There's the escape multi-ball. You hit the thing, edge of safety cube multi-ball. That's also an add-a-ball while you're in multi-ball. Okay, so we just shot the elevator. We're going down into a mode, and now it's totally different. It's an entirely different environment right now.
Yep, and you're walking the bridge. Yeah. That was interesting. I didn't notice that where with that ramp on the right hand side. Where is it? Did I just miss it again? Yep. Where it's got those kind of pillars there on the artwork. There you go. Those which obviously are representing the targets either side of the ramp.
Right, pedestal switches. Yes.
Pedestal. Let's see it. Yep.
So in this mode, you hit the switch and a cube dropper drops a cube. It turns into some kind of gift or something, and you hit the target again to collect it.
Very cool. So there's the important information, obviously pricing, and I'm sure the feedback's been great. You guys obviously, I didn't come across anyone saying they didn't enjoy the game. I think you guys have knocked out of the park, and for everyone to say this is your best game yet, that's amazing to hear, because I loved and fell in love with Final Resistance. And the fact that everyone's saying this is the best game yet, speaks volumes. So I have to say big kudos to you and the team for that. One thing I wanted to touch on quickly was GLaDOS's voice.
Hello again. It's been a long time. I had almost given up hope of ever testing again, but I think we can put our differences behind us for science. Federal regulations require me to warn you that this next test chamber is looking pretty good.
My daughter finds the voice. She's like, "Oh, it's so creepy," and that's the point. So I'm assuming that throughout the game, she's obviously like trying to put you off your gameplay.
Right. So in Portal 1, she's this voice that's head in the background. You never really see her in Portal 1 until you get to the end. So she's just this antagonist who's trying to encourage you through insults and funny quips. She's trying to encourage you to continue through the gameplay. She's making fun of you the whole time, basically.
And I'm assuming, and I feel embarrassed that I can't remember the actress's name that does her
Ellen
voice.
McLean, yeah.
And did you use her to do the call outs, or did you use old content or did she actually record for you guys as well?
So we had to license the right to use her voice. We could have chosen to have her re-record new ones or leverage the old ones.
Mm.
In either case, we were paying her for access to her voice. We went through the catalog of lines from Portal 2, and they have everything we would have asked her to record. She's constantly interacting with the player. She's insulting. She's making jokes about the progress. So we didn't need to pay her an additional fee to record new ones because we had everything we needed from her.
And then obviously Reginald.
Through Portal.
Hi, I'm Reginald, Team Building Core. You can call me Reggie. Oh, nice shot! Well done!
You must be very, very proud. I'm building.
So it's cool there where you had him, congratulating you, and then she shuts you down straight away.
Yeah, that's her role.
Yeah, which I think is great, and I'd like to see you guys make little desktop Reggies that I can buy and put USB into my computer and have him on my desk. I think there's a cool little market there for that. He's such a cool mech, and
Yeah.
I mean there must have, like, how much time did you guys spend, because it looks like obviously having the little screen and it moves, it must have been a pretty intricate mech to get right.
It is. There's a full processor in there. There's a screen, and it's a tiny thing. So we went through a full design, a full product design just for that thing. Just wait for that toy. We may in fact do that and offer that.
Yeah, I think I've always said this about, I think I touched on it in my video with Chris about TPF and talking about when people license something and they've got the license to do it, why wouldn't they make merchandise or toys for the pinball unless unless they don't let you, obviously, because one of the things is that, yeah, you can make a pinball, but you're not allowed to do anything else. That's different. But,
Yeah.
I think if there's an element of the game that you can pull that mech out and create like a little toy that you can buy, why not? At the end of the day, we're running a business where, if you can sell that as an add-on, why not?
So licensing arrangements, yeah, they're all different. In this particular one, we licensed the right to sell some merchandise, including artwork, posters, some T-shirts. So we will have some merch available for people that love the Portal brand and want to represent it, and enjoy it on their walls or whatever. We'll have a bunch. You can check out Brad Albright is the artist. Brad Albright Illustrations. He runs his own site. I think he already has some of the items listed. You can purchase them today.
That T-shirt. He shared a T-shirt today, which was that teal blue color with the logo. That was a great. Although he doesn't ship to Australia, so. But anyway.
Well, we will. So you'll be able to buy that from us as well, and we can get it packed up for you.
Yeah, I got excited. I went to check out, and I was like, "Oh, won't let me check out because I'm in Australia." But obviously, it's cool. Really, really excited. And as someone who played the game, mind you, I haven't played it in a long time. I did download it on the Switch to jump back into it, and it's given an opportunity for me to show my daughter because she loves these type of puzzle games. So a new generation coming into this. So. Yeah, look, it's been great to go over it and find new things, and like now I'm just kind of going, I just can't wait for this portal to come here and we can show it to people. And I've already had a few people that saw it before knowing that I've got one going, are you going to hold a portal launch party? And I was like, yes, because I think we can have a pretty cool launch party along the portal theme. So that would be cool. But
if only we could just portal them over to you, it'd be fantastic.
yeah, instead of using UPS. Gerry, look, it's always great talking to you, mate. You're one of the most passionate guys in the industry that has stood by this product for a good 10 years and believes in it. And I think, it was always going to evolve and get to a point where I think you guys now have set a bar with this, obviously, this extended section. And now we're at probably version 3.0 of the P3 system. Would you call it 3.0?
It's actually still version 1.0 because the original owners of the P3 purchased in 2017 can run all of the latest stuff. We are dedicated to our customers. We make sure that anyone who's got a P3, we're happy to help them. We're happy to chat with them at any time. And every time we've added something new to the platform to add new features, we've made it available for the original owners as well to upgrade. So
Yeah. Nah, cool. Was there anything you'd like to add that we've missed or haven't covered? And
We just got back from the Texas Pinball Festival. I'm running on fumes, but it's a blast to talk about this game. The excitement was off the charts. People were coming over, bringing their families, bringing their kids, bringing their parents, showing them the machine. We are excited to show it off. We'll be at a bunch more shows coming up. We need to get a game over to you in Australia to show off. We're going to MGC. We have people going to MGC, Allentown, Pintastic. We're trying to get it out to as many shows as we can in the near future so people can see it.
so if you're in Australia, my aim is to hopefully get it to Pinfest, which is in Sydney. Then hopefully, well, not hopefully, I will definitely be at the Melbourne Expo, which looks like it's going to be first week in November. So we'll get it across. And if anyone just wants to come over and play it, lives in Australia, by all means, just hit me up and, come over. I know personally a bit isolated. I had one of the guys in the chat yesterday go, he's in Canberra, which is on the complete other side of Australia. And I said to him, either wait for me to bring it across, or you're more than welcome to jump across on a plane and come and spend the weekend, and we'll just play heaps of Final Resistance and Princess Bride
Nice.
in the meantime.
Nice.
But yeah, and I think, Gerry, you've putting on your website a list of places where people can play these games as well.
Yeah, we recently started a program where locations can register their ownership and they check in with us periodically, make sure everything's running well, and we'll advertise for them on the site. So we have a list of, it's about 10 locations that are on there now in the US and in
Yep.
other countries as well. Hamish in New Zealand has one on location for people to enjoy. If anyone in Australia puts it on location and wants to register it, we're happy to list it on our site as well.
Cool, awesome. Yeah, because a few people have asked me, "Oh, well, do you know where I can find a P3 to play?" So, by all means, jump on Gerry's social media. The Multimorphic P3 Discords is really active, and you've got heaps of chapters for all the games and all the tech support and any questions and just fun and people talking about their favorite elements. So, if you're in Discords, I highly recommend it. It's really entertaining. Gerry, thank you very much, mate. I'll let you go because I know you've probably got a bit of rest to do, and it's nearly midnight over here. So I'm gonna, I'll probably play a bit of Portal now after all this.
Enzo, I've said it privately. I'll say it publicly. We love your enthusiasm, your positivity, your interest in promoting, helping get people to see the P3 because it's a machine that's not everywhere yet, and it's different from everything else. So it needs a bit of an explanation and some time on it before you fully grasp and understand what we've done to enhance the pinball experience. And
Yeah.
we appreciate everything you're doing.
No, thank you. And I'm gonna get a P3 shill T-shirt because I'm sure I'll get that in the comments. But for me, I do love everything about pinball. It has to be a really bad game, Blues Brothers, to put me, to not be positive, because I think everything has a place, and something doesn't have to be for everyone. And I did touch on this in the last episode. My little open letter that was about the toxicity in the industry or in the hobby. Everyone is allowed to not like something, and I think it's just about how we deliver that message across. And at the end of the day, this is pinball. It's meant to be fun, and it's crazy how toxic sometimes it can be.
And everyone making anything for pinball is doing it because they love it. They're passionate about it. We spend our whole lives, our whole days, our weekends, our nights building pinball experiences for people and trying to make those experiences the best we possibly can. Yes, every now and then someone has a problem and maybe they try to arrange a support call and we're not available when they want to do it, but we're happy to help everybody. We want their machines running and we want to create cool experiences and games for everyone.
So yeah, so look, thank you very much, and again, thank you to the team. You guys are phenomenal. The tech support is great. Everyone responds very quickly, from my experience, even just for a silly question like, "How are you meant to clean this display?" or just something really silly. They're always going to respond, and TJ's been great, and everyone else has been great. So big kudos to you guys, and I'm sure we'll do I'll definitely do some gameplay footage with some different camera angles to show a bit more of the how the ball moves around, and yeah, we'll wait for that, and really looking forward to it. So thank you very much again for the opportunity and for talking, and I think we gave everyone a pretty cool insight on this. Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you, Enzo. Appreciate you. Appreciate the audience out there, and we're excited to get games out there too. So take care. Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. Thank you.